Hello again, I greet you. I am Citizen Jones Hussein, welcoming you to Homo Politicus, a show on Enterprise TV that tackles issues raised by contemporary Nigeria, just so you know. Today, ACF, that's the Arewa Consultative Forum, kicks against planned relocation of CBN departments and Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAAN, from Abuja to Lagos, says plot is against northern region. Now, once suspicion is aroused, everything fits it. And according to the late Mahatma Gandhi of India, the moment there's suspicion about a person's motives, everything he does becomes tainted. Now, make no mistake about it, we are a country of suspicious minds, never mind that ours is a country with an overwhelming religious fervor. The ACF is a political and cultural association of leaders in northern Nigeria, formed in the year 2000. The body says the planned relocation of CBN departments and the headquarters of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAAN, is a deliberate plot to antagonistic actions, I beg your pardon, against the interest of the North. That we are hemmed in by this unending cycle of mutual mistrust and distrust after a near 64 years of independence is a sign that we are teetering on the brink of temptation or simply a country in dire need of redemption. Let's have a conversation, please. This morning, my guest and major discussant is Cyril Abaku, a broadcaster and communications expert. He also doubles as a commentator on national issues. Cyril, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Citizen Jones. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, so we are back there. The ACF is singing a familiar tune. Are you surprised here?
No, I'm not. And I'm glad you used the phrase or the clause, we're back here, because we never travel too far from here. It's a sore wound. It's a bad place to be. But we easily find reasons to be there. Matters of basic administrative procedures in government, matters of who should do what in government, matters of who gets what contract, matters of to whom is a particular government agency privatized, matters of who ties a road, matters of who gets which ministry in federal government, matters of whom the president appoints as an advisor, matters of even in religion. This matter seems not to go away. It's like they say,
you get the impression it's a deliberate one.
Yes, deliberate, because I think it feeds certain people. But for now, I just want to look at the matter and why it manifests this way so easily and without caution. It's a rabid monster that is ever so hungry, ever so thirsty, ever so in need of what to devour. Now, the president, I'm coming to the issue now, the president has thought it necessary to give permission or to say it's okay that the CBN moves some of its key departments to Lagos. I have not heard that the presidency or the governor of the CBN will therefore personally also relocate to Lagos. In which case it would have been a fait accompli that the headquarters of the CBN has gone from Abuja to Lagos. We've not had that being said. We do know that the CBN undertakes oversight functions, regulating banks, which is, in fact, its commandate, regulating banks and other financial institutions in the country. So, but again, because a lot of these bank headquarters are in
Lagos.
No, not in Lagos. Are in Nigeria's commercial capital.
Okay.
Which is
Lagos.
Okay. They more often than not travel or fly down basically on government expense to Lagos. So it's like saying, I live in Abeokuta, but I work in Lagos. The CBN is in Abuja, but has a lot of its work cut out for it in Lagos. Therefore, to say that instead of allowing for this waste to continue, instead of allowing for insecurity to continue to fester, Why don't we do the smart thing? Allow let some of these key departments become resident or situated in Lagos so that they can more easily have clear sight of the banks that are regulating, other than for them to keep on flying to Lagos after every 2 weeks, after every 2 months. I don't think that, because of course the people who are now arguing against this move by the CBN have not given us the first logical, sorry, I have to use that word, they've not given us a strong counter argument. They are arguing based on sentiment, based on provincialism, based on self-interest, based on what will apply to their bloc, which means that the CBN being in Abuja or being located to, let's say, Kaduna, Niger, or any other place, would have been an advantage for them. Basically, they are saying that this was our spoil. Why move it away from our land? So our
land here would suggest
Abuja. That's what they mean.
But Abuja is Nigeria's land.
This is now, so we are not taking an argument from the issue of our fault lines and the national question.
One of which is north-south divide. It's there.
Yes, and again, a subset of that argument of the dichotomy is the question of the indigene versus the citizen. Not indigene and settler. The issue of settler is a primitive word to use. It is indigene versus citizen. All right? So, should Nigeria belong to the citizen or the indigene? On the face of it, it may look like, oh, indigenes, owners of the place, but history doesn't ever stand in one location. If you know what I mean. Anybody who claims to be living in any particular land, we can date when we move to that place.
Okay.
We can date it. And history and time don't become monuments. They don't live in one place. All right? They move.
Yeah.
So, but in nation building, that construct or that idea of people own a particular place ought to be revisited with and redebated to assert. We are not saying that people don't have cultural identity in terms of because they've lived in a particular place and maybe let's say over a century and they've settled there. But the matter is that today's indigene was yesterday's settler. And so when we move from that primitive society to a civilized republic.
Sorry, you are making me, for a moment, think about Israel and Palestine.
You see, yeah, in Israel's own case, in passing,
yeah.
The argument of settler and indigene, you see, the person who comes to a place and is able to own. What I mean own, I'm not talking of who comes to own that place. I mean, is the person who has made who has invested the stake in pushing that place from where he met it to where it ought to be.
Yeah.
And so
or where it is.
So the matter of, we are not saying that the Bagis don't own Abuja. Nobody's debating that. All right? But the question is, if on the merit of the matter, the CBN will be more effective, more efficient being in Lagos. After all, before I went to Abuja, where was it? It was in Lagos. If it's more efficient being in Lagos, what is the hula baloo about? You're moving out of the north.
But seriously, are you surprised in any way about the fact that we have suddenly become a country of conspiracy theories?
Well, I mean, again, your interest
is natural.
It could be. It could be. Your intro made it very clearly, stated very clearly when you said that once suspicion is aroused, everything that happens following it feeds the suspicion. And so there is already suspicion. You see, the president has sort of wittingly or unwittingly created a trend in which you find that his appointments have hovered largely around his kinsmen. No doubt about it. You can't fall that. Do I like it personally? My answer is very, very likely a no. But those who are now shouting and, as they say, who are now raising the hue and cry over the president's choices, we didn't raise the same hue and cry when Buhari was appointing his nepotistic.
His kinsman.
Brought in
his kinsman better here.
Well, okay.
For me.
Okay, yeah. For the sake of you, his kinsman.
Yeah.
But for the sake of
leave that word out.
For the proprietor of political science, who say he's when Buhari brought nepotism to impose on federal business, nobody cried. I mean, these people we didn't hear their voices. It means what they are saying now is that Buhari had more power to assert such tendencies over and above President Tinubu, which is to say, Buhari has more power, or is more Nigerian than Tinubu.
But do you suggest we have a job challenging falsehoods and conspiracy theories as we sit here?
No, like I always said, anybody who is going to make Nigeria right and strong must have the will, mark these two words, must have the will to do what is right. In this case,
step on toes, if you like.
Yes, yes. Now I'm coming. You shouldn't step on toes, yes. Stepping on toes will be a concomitant. The primary thing is to have the will to do what is right, like moving the CBN headquarters to Lagos. Even that's not what it really is.
What is right here is relative.
It's relative. But I'm just saying that when you know what is right, in any case, you have the will to do what is right. And then have the power, howsoever defined, to handle naysayers who are naysaying, not because their naysaying is necessarily the right thing to do, but because they will naysay, if only to destabilize you and to make things look the way they are not.
It said we may not be able to change the course of the wind, but we can alter the position of the ship.
Of course we can. And so in this case, what has the president also done? The Minister of Aviation has said, move Faan headquarters back to
Lagos.
No, but now in all sincerity, people fly through Lagos more than they fly through Abuja.
Yeah.
The Lagos airport is more busy than the Abuja airport.
The busiest.
It's the busiest. Then, so it means that where administrative assertion or authorities needed more is in Lagos. Till today, nobody has explained to us why the former Minister of Aviation moved Faan headquarters to Abuja.
Good.
In all
and there's no hue and cry
over it. At the time, the Yorubas didn't I think
they didn't raise hell.
They didn't raise a brow.
Okay.
And for want of and if only to help put the discussion in perspective, Faan headquarters, CBN, even federal ministries and presidents can be in other cities apart from Abuja. All right. If this go by this argument, a police training college is in Wudil, Kanu, army training, whatever, defense academy is in Kaduna. Where is the Air Force training? The Air Force, where are they all? So if you want to raise this kind of argument, in my view, I will say it again, nothing stops us from moving, let's say, DPR, Nesria, Faan, and all of these. We can move the headquarters to Enugu, Bayelsa, Katsina, Kano. You look at where the agency will be more useful or more resourceful, being cited.
Based on past experiences.
Well, I mean, so if you do a cost-benefit analysis of what you want to do, you can tell. In my view, Faan will, so Lagos rakes in all the revenue. And people who don't know what it takes to, you sit down in one place and say, Faan headquarters is not in Abuja. When in reality, you know, and look at, see what it has even cost government and even those who have been moved from the movement of Faan headquarters from Lagos to Abuja, you only need to know what it has cost government. But and even those who have been so moved.
There is what is known as the ship house in Abuja, headquarters of the Nigerian Ports Authority.
What is it doing there? When you
should it be there?
It should not. When you didn't even create an artificial refactory. What's it called? Yes, that's what it is. You didn't create an artificial water body connecting it to anywhere. This is just a matter of, what's the word now? Is it agglomerating things to yourself, whether they are functional or not, whether they are productive or not, whether they are resourceful or not. You just want to gather everything to yourself. I don't think that is the way to run efficient government.
Yeah.
Look, the world is even moving from physical, material institutions to the digital space. In some countries like Estonia and all these places, they are talking of digital government. They're talking about e-voting. In Rwanda, for example, you want to open a company, in 4 hours, you can do a name search and get your and get a company name. The world is moving. What is the benefit? If you even wanted to properly digitalize the CBN today, how many jobs will remain? how many jobs will remain? If you take so those who are fighting and saying it is our land should be told that in 20 years' time, your land will not count for anything if you're not careful, because the world would have moved to a place where everything is run in the cloud. All right? So that they may not need your land to work. They may not need your space to do anything. So rather than fighting the president, why don't you, I mean, you could raise the dust, but why don't you also think about the future and think of strategic advantage you can have over and above others by way of what you invest in your people, you know, for the future.
I feel like dropping this somewhere in the discussion. The 1999 Constitution, as amended, does not talk about zoning, especially of these key offices, you know.
Yes.
Yet the Constitution, we are told, is the ground norm.
Now, it is the ground norm because it is the law of all other laws.
Yeah.
Any law that is made is under the Constitution, is beneath the Constitution. And to that extent, if any provision in any such law runs contrary to the letter and spirit of the Constitution, it is declared null and void to the extent of its inconsistency. All right? So that must be taken into consideration. I think that a lot of those in the Nigerian political class today were people who were mostly active in 1995 when Abacha convened his national conference, I think chaired by former Vice President Alex Ekweme, in which the 6 geopolitical zones were normatively, shall I say, normatively broached, okay, or created, if I'm using the word loosely.
Yeah.
South-South, Southwest, Southeast, North-Central, Northeast, and Northwest.
And I think it was an A-list
proposal back then. It was.
Yeah.
Now, and Abacha was to have 5 deputies or vice presidents from each of those zones, who will take turns to do one thing or the other. But you see, the fact, so somehow that thing has stuck with us. That arrangement has largely stuck with us. Our political parties have vice presidents for each of the geopolitical zones. That is not in the Constitution.
So what we're seeing now, vis-a-vis the ACF kicking, is barefaced politics.
No, in fact, it's naked politics, to call it what it. And politics, when stripped naked, is a very ugly thing to behold.
Yeah, and so the Nigerian politician is not helping matters here.
So let's
because we talk about histrionics and theatrics of politicians. So this is one of them at play.
If you hear what and by the way, when the Arewa speak, you must listen very, very attentively and carefully.
Between the lines too.
Because if you fail to do so, it may be at your own peril. That's why I said, you see, when the president takes certain steps this way, he must have if he has the will to act this way, he must have the power to command conformity to what he has done. Otherwise, it will be the liability will be his to bear. But let me explain it. This is not just a rejection of what the president is about, or okay, so let me say president, let me say government, although in the end, it is the president that they're talking to because they know where power lies. What the Arewa are saying is that in 2027, they're going to punish President Tinubu at the next election. That's what they're saying. They say reject. That's diplomatic language. They say they don't like it. It is the most polite way they are communicating their angst to you, because when they say, it's like when they want to declare war. You won't hear them say we're coming to attack you. They'll say, we will use everything within our means to protect our territory. What have they said? They've communicated enough. Those who have ears to hear political language have heard what they ought to hear. So when they say we don't buy, the question will be, does the president have a card up his sleeve that he knows can be useful enough to neutralize or to make nothing of this threat that has been issued? It's a threat.
In your estimation?
Well, come on. You said history. It's a threat. When people say, when the group comes and says they don't like what you've done, are you aware that before or after the Arewa spoke, the Arewa Youth Wing spoke, led by Yerima Shetima? I saw the statement he issued yesterday. The same man, I remember him. Maybe we should go memory lane to begin to explain what some of these people have done in the past. for us to know when they say they reject, to know what they really mean. You know, it was Yerema Shetima and Abdulaziz that issued a press conference in the North many years ago and said the Igbos should leave the North. And to this day, they are working free, nobody has arrested them. When DSS went to pick them up, they said that they were in the marketplace and that they couldn't access them. Meanwhile, the former president's spokesman was saying that President Buhari had considered assassinating Nnamdi Kanu. Our governments have power in the areas they want to have power. And where they don't want to have power, they remain quiet and silent. Look, all of these are very clear for anybody to see. When Goodluck Jonathan won the election, they said, somebody said they are going to make the North ungovernable. You know, did it happen or not? It did happen. So when you see this is happening, it's like when Jesus said that when you see the cloud turning, you know that the season is about to change.
Yeah.
Do we see this kind of thing and go to be quiet? I don't think so.
Okay then, if you are watching us just viewing in, this is Homo Politicus on Enterprise TV, and we're looking at the subject matter, ACF, meaning the Arewa Consultative Forum, kicks against planned relocation of CBN departments and the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAAN, from Abuja to Lagos. According to the ACF, the plot is against northern region, if you like, northern interests. My discussant here is Cyril Abakit. Cyril, politicians in Nigeria particularly build very strong walls instead of bridges. Has it become a way of life here?
It has become a way of life, yes. But before they, you see, the thing is before they, in this case, my reading of what is going on is that before the president, well, that is if a wall indeed it is, but before the president built this wall, because when you hear voices are at the gate, it means they're outside. But the question is who and who are in bed with the president? That's the question. Whether a minister is acting, or a chairman of a commission is acting, or governor of central bank is acting, or the head of an MD is acting, maybe a DG. There are you know, when Obasanjo took the hand of Arewa to go and beg the senators many years ago, as minister of FCT, when he said that they were idiots or they were fools, President Obasanjo held him and went and knelt down to beg the National Assembly. He did. So, same Nigeria. So for the president to have counted, I believe President Tinubu has counted his cost. I don't think that today in Nigeria, there is a smarter, more politically conscious political tactician in all of Nigeria today than President Bola Tinubu. He understands the politics of things. That's why when you hear this threat by the North, the question you ask yourself is, who and who then are in bed with the president? Who are those who are giving him the boldness? For example, our president treats Kanu like an egg. He knows that to win the election or even to win the election 2027, he needs Kanu. All right? So, maybe Kanu, Kaduna, and Katsina.
Yeah.
The president knows that he needs those states. You saw everything the president did to win Kanu. He did his colloquium in Kanu. Governor Ganduje was his good friend. Former Governor Kwankwaso, Senator Kwankwaso was, you know, it was that even when Ganduje and Kwankwaso were fighting, both men were his friends individually. Abdul Mumin Jibrin, right? If I'm getting his name, the former chairman of the House of Reps Committee on Appropriation.
Okay.
Who was
Jibrin?
Yes, Jibrin. Jibrin is a well-known Kano politician. He was the one President Tinubu appointed back then to be the first DG of his campaign organization. It was Jibrin that organized a press conference back then to say that they had hired as if Mula to pray for Tinubu's campaign. So the president understands the power of Kano.
Okay.
Anybody threatening the president must be able to take Kano from him. The question is, those threatening the president now, do they have power in Kano? Maybe they don't.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they don't. So you need to go and check.
And maybe they do.
They do. But I am of the view that they probably
because
don't.
Perhaps debatable. They're seeing what you cannot see.
It's possible.
You or I.
Yeah. So the question will now be: let's know those who are talking. Let's know those who the president has walled into himself. Who are those in bed with the president? If we know those who are in the war with the president, and we can now look at those who are outside the wall against the president, we can now tell what they
see. Let me caress your sense of history. I may be right or wrong. I told by my history teacher, or reminded by the teacher, that Calabar was at one time, the capital of Nigeria.
Yes, it was.
And it went to Lokoja. There was no, heaven did not fall. Came back to Lagos. And under the Babangida regime in 1990, it decided to be taken to Abuja. So you can say twice in the north, twice in the south.
In fact, thrice in the north, if that is, if that's the case, and then twice, because it was also in Zungeru at the time.
Okay.
Because we are factoring in Northern Protectorate,
And
Southern Protectorate, and then a crown colony of Lagos and so on. So,
I'm reminded also history that Lord Lugard ruled Nigeria from Lokoja.
he did. He did. And the question is then, you know, to say, when Babangida moved the capital of Nigeria to Abuja, heavens didn't fall. And very importantly, if President Tinubu, or no, if the governor of the CBN had said that these key groups should be moved to Kaduna, Kaduna is also fairly metropolitan.
Yeah.
Move these CBN groups
It's becoming cosmopolitan.
yeah, sorry, cosmopolitan, I mean to say,
Yeah.
move these key CBN organs to Kaduna, would they have been protesting today? Most likely not. So is this about a case, is this really a case of some Nigerians being more Nigerian than other Nigerians?
Yeah.
Or some Nigerians just not willing to face the truth and say, and call it by its name? I think the latter seems to be the case. Look, I have no dog in the fight. What bothers me, what concerns me is the fact that if a president is waking up after nearly God knows how many years to say, let the right thing be done, it should be done. The reason I say this is this. For a long time, the CBN has been a political CBN. Has been very heavy on politics.
Okay. Okay.
To the point that they began to give loans to private individuals, which is not the work of a central bank, of a banking regulator.
But a commercial bank, if you ask me.
A commercial bank, exactly.
Yeah.
But the CBN, Nigeria's were giving loans to farmers. And that's not its work. Now, today, if a governor is coming to say, let us thoroughly reprofessionalize the CBN and move, I don't.
You know, I remember the statement of the late British Prime Minister, Sir Winston Churchill. He said, if you stop to throw stones at every dog that barks at you, you may not get to your destination. And he's right. He's
right. Very, very right, because you see, what could have happened, okay, is for these groups to observe the president, maybe before they make their voice public, seek to get, because I mean, Arewa can meet the president at any time, seek to have a meeting with the president and, you know, and have a sit down with him and ask him, and, you know, maybe appeal to him and say, we know you're president, but so that, you know, that way, maybe he can, but they seem to have gone overboard and their minds are made up. Well, the president also has to count his earnings and see what comes out of it. But I can tell you that if we continue to see, whether rightly or wrongly, but if we continue to see this sort of bold moves by Mr. President, nobody knows how far things may go.
But you know, I'm just thinking of the old Federal Secretariat somewhere at Ikoyi, Lagos, which is lying waste now, a gargantuan waste, if you ask me. So moving these offices around the country, not a bad idea, if you ask me.
It is not. In fact, some ministries could be in Lagos, some could be in Anambra, some could be in Bayelsa, some could be in Akwa Ibom, some could be in Lokoja, some could be in Calabar, some could be in, so that people can feel a sense of their country. Is the idea of the NYSC founded in 1973. How far has it gone now? Parents cannot trust their children to Nigeria.
No, thanks to insecurity.
Yes, you know.
You don't blame them, do you?
No, I could not. I could not. Whether right or wrong, I can't judge them, because the tension in the land is something else. And this is the same Abuja that we've not been able to keep safe. Abuja that has kidnappers are moving up and running riot. They are running and there's nothing we can do about it. How much more when we now realize that these kidnappers are not acting all alone, that they are acting in cahoot with people who are sponsoring them.
It's only natural to react the way you're doing, because if we mean to end the menace of kidnapping today, we can.
Yes. No, we can.
We can.
We definitely. If you begin in the morning, you can. Look, on Saturday, 2 national dailies carry 2 stories. One said that security forces were combing Abuja forest to discover terrorists and the bandits. Then another headline said that the bandits are hiding out in a bush, all right, in a forest left by the army in Kaduna. And the question I want to ask yourself, so what should we now accept? Are the bandits really in Abuja or Kaduna? A newspaper probably knew better than even the army. Come on. That is totally unacceptable. But the question is, couldn't have done better? Of course, the Nigerian army has more than enough strength and power.
Yeah.
In fact, I can tell you this freely. The Nigerian police itself, in the first place, has enough units that can go after these criminals and apprehend them. But are we willing to do we have the political will to deal with these issues? That's another question entirely.
All right. Let's attempt to begin to take this discussion home. You talked about the Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, vis-a-vis President Bola Tinubu in 4 years' time. Too early to begin to breach 2027 now? Or is that the nature? It's typically Nigerian to do that.
I would say that it is typical Nigerian political nature. The Nigerian political nature is that once an election...
It's not a flight of fancy.
With the day an election ends, you begin to plan for the next, even if it's in 7 or 8 years, you begin to plan for the next election. So they are fully on it. I don't think there's any need for one to deceive oneself. It is too early. You know why? Because anytime anywhere politics shows up, it doesn't take second attention. It becomes the primary thing you do.
Have you ever pondered a jobless politician?
Well, but they are bound. They are bound. And that's why when they go for election, they must win at every cost, because they know that if they don't win, they are out of circulation. So they must win that election. So,
but this is not universal politics, or is it? Nigerian politics. You know, don't forget, former President Obasanjo talked about Nigeria going for African-type democracy, whatever that means.
Yes. So it's not.
Is this what he was talking about?
It couldn't be. A democracy of negatives. It couldn't be. Ours is unique. But I can assure you it couldn't be. Global best practices do exist in different spheres of life.
Okay.
But Nigeria is a bad copy of these things. We go, borrow up to a point, and then we leave the rest and say, God will do it.
But it has become a way, second nature here.
Unfortunately so.
So, are we, as I said in my preamble, a country teething on the brink of temptation, or a country in dire need of redemption?
So we are teetering on the brink of temptation, and unless the redemption comes, we will surely fall off the cliff.
All right, so this is where we apply the brakes. As it is, the CBN is moving some departments from Abuja to Lagos, and the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria is moving the headquarters from Abuja to Lagos, where some say yes, the ACF is saying no. What is your stand on this? On behalf of Cyril Abaku, my guest, I, Citizen Jones Hussein, desire to thank you for your time. Bye-bye now. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.